from all across the different plains of the United States and around the world. Everyone is waiting for this special prophetic blood moon, second Passover analysis, plus current events. And we have on our show today, we have our team with us. Mercedes Sparks with her cowboy hat on. Reminds me of, you don't remember this. Sally, what was the name of this lady when I grew up? Sally,
Mustang Sally.
No, it's not Mustang Sally, it was Sally. And it was some lady that had a hat on, a cowboy hat on. Sally Starr. You ever hear of Sally Starr?
Never heard of her.
Oh, a big celebrity when I grew up. She was on TV just like that. Things recycle. You see, it's like bell bottoms. The cowboy hats come back. Carl's over there wearing his hat. What do you got on your hat there, Carl?
Yep. It's the Lance Wallnau Show with Carl Wallnau.
What?
Oh, there we go.
What?
We have a Carl Wallnau hat now?
We do. We have a Carl Wallnau hat now.
Are you serious?
I do. I am serious. And also, if you want to pay an extra 20% at the merch table, wear this hat, and we will upcharge you for no reason.
Carl, did you say 20% off?
No, I said an extra 20%. Either that, or you can take the hat off and show some respect to the people working the table. But odds are you're not going to do that. So there you go.
So people are going to have to pay an extra 20%.
That's it.
That's it. That's why we're here. That's what I bring to the table.
Great.
Jonathan, peacekeeping. Yes. And how you guys doing over there? What's happening? What did you do this weekend, Jonathan?
Oh, goodness. Hung out with Carl, actually.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Did you have an influence on him to make him more nurturing?
Sorry, what did you say?
Yeah, I heard, did you have an AA? And it's like, no, we didn't have an AA.
Well, all right. See, Jonathan so artfully dodges all controversy. That's why we love Jonathan, which is why we're going to miss him. Should he ever leave us?
Stop prophesying him out of here. Let's not do that.
To go to law school.
I love Jonathan.
Yeah, I know. Well, I do too. That's why it's unfortunate. It takes so
That's
long
why it's
to
so sad.
Yeah, we don't know who's going to be sitting in that seat soon, but it's...
No, Jonathan, don't go anywhere.
I tell you, the kid.
Jonathan wants to go to law school.
He wants to go to law school. He wants to be, you got to be aggressive though, Jonathan. If you're going to be representing us in the courts up there, you'll probably be the most likable guy up there at law school. That's one thing I can guarantee.
Got to increase my D tendencies.
Yeah, increase your D. Yes. Put on the warrior mode, and that's why Carl is probably going to be a good guy to hang out with. And Carl could learn from you to be more of the statesman.
What was the show you guys wanted to do? There was like a lawyer show that Carl was going to ask him incendiary things.
Legally speaking.
Legally speaking.
Now,
explain
legally
the show.
speaking, Jonathan, what are our options here moving forward? Legally speaking.
None.
There are none.
There's no good recourse.
Back to you, Lance.
All right, look, I have important things to cover today. And so everybody's talking to me. So I get this message yesterday from Gene Bailey. Hey, we're doing War Room. No, it's not War Room. That's Bannon. We're doing Flashpoint, right? Flashpoint tomorrow night.
Could you imagine Gene doing War Room?
Imagine Gene Bailey and Hank Kunneman on War Room with Steve Bannon.
Oh, gosh.
And Steve Cortez. Oh, my gosh. Anyway, so I can take this thing out of my ear now. I don't need it. So now here's the deal. I don't even look at this thing's hanging off me. I look like an alien. Okay, there we go. Let's put this thing somewhere else.
What's great is if people on the podcast know exactly what you're talking about.
I'm talking about the thing that's in your ear when you're doing newscasting, which is annoying because it's in your ear. Most people don't like stuff in there. All right, so here's the deal. I want to talk about, so I'm going to do the Flashpoint tonight, actually. So I get the notice yesterday that they want to talk about the blood moons. Now, the blood moons were like in 2014, 2016, we had a series of blood moons. Everybody was very popular on. Everybody was super apocalyptic about. I'm not so sure that anybody really got any real insight out of it, except there's an awful lot of Christians that are really into trying to explain the complex world and cosmos in terms of some simplified, story about how the blood moon explains things. And of course, there is something there, which is what I want to talk about. But then you come into this past week, and we had another blood moon. So I told people I was going to be going and covering it live, but I was flying in from New Jersey, and the flight was like delayed. It took me 9 hours to get back. And by the time I got back, the eclipse had already started. So I couldn't find the moon. I was going to cover it live, and I was going to do commentary, but I'd be honest with you. It took me till 6 o'clock this morning. This is why some days I'm grumpy when I come in here. I'm going the extra mile for my people. And I was up till 6 rummaging through these esoteric YouTube things on linking the second Passover to the blood moon, because the task that we have for Flashpoint tonight is they want to talk about the second Passover. I didn't even know there was a second Passover. Did you? The second Passover linked to the blood moon. Well, this, you know me. I'm not going to sit there and say, well, I don't know, Gene. So I did what I always do. I went to my audience, and I went on Facebook last night, and I asked about 1,000 of you. I said, tell me, what have you got? So people started sending me information. So I digested it. It took me all night to kind of go through all that stuff. You're going to love the discovery that I made. Second Passover. Did you even know such a thing existed? The blood moon. What makes this blood moon unique? By the way, do you know when the next blood moon is?
Can I ask a question though?
Oh,
What is a blood moon? Why is it significant?
oh, okay. That's a good. Listen, that's a legitimate question, people.
Thank you.
Isn't it? So for those of you that are like Mercedes, who are saying, "What are you talking about?" We would go to Joel, the prophet. Do you remember the prophecy, which is the last days I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh? Mm-hmm. And what precedes that? The moon shall turn to blood, is the prophecy, meaning that there's an end time outpouring, end time cataclysmic shaking. We do cover the shaking of heaven and earth, did it extensively in our book we wrote. This is the prophecy that there'll be signs in the heavens accompanying the apocalyptic and cataclysmic shifting of nations and spiritual battles, resulting in, like, the blood moon is going to be conspicuous.
But don't they happen a lot? Isn't it just a lunar eclipse?
About 3 times a year.
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
3 times a year.
But this one is significant because you're saying it coincides with
This one is, well, listen, what makes them significant, all you snarky snivellers out there and people
No
that...
one's being snarky.
I'm talking about the peanut gallery over there over your shoulder. I'm looking at them.
We're called
And
the
I'm
producer's
watching
corner.
them goofing around while I'm talking. So here's the deal. The likelihood of them occurring during the Feast of Tabernacles and the Atonement, which is a specific date cluster every year, happens 1 week, and a lunar cycle. The fact that these blood moons occurred in 2014 and 2016 exactly during the feast days, and now it shows up again right exactly on the date of the second Passover, and the fact that China is freaking out, because in China they not only had blood moon, they had blood horizon. The entire sky over whole provinces was red, which caused a widespread anxiety that it was an omen of some sort, that something's going on in China. And indeed, something is going on in China, which is also going to have to be covered tonight. So I had to link together the second Passover. Plus, now guess when the next blood moon is? It's exactly when we have our November midterms. Starts to make you wonder. Now, I want to cut back to, I first started looking at the signs in the heavens a little differently when James Kennedy, many of you youngsters don't remember Dr. D. James Kennedy of the Coral Ridge Presbyterian Church, but James Kennedy was the great evangelist and Presbyterian statesman during the Reagan presidency. He spoke frequently at White House gatherings. He was you could say he was the dignified face and intellect behind the conservative evangelical voice that shaped American politics in the 80s when we came of age. So we owe a debt to those guys that came before us, that brought us into the mainstream. Kennedy was the one that originally predicted in the 1980s that Marxism would be the ultimate battle for the church. And while the church was worried about offending people and going woke, that we were going to get so woke that we would lose our impact like salt and light on society and be trodden underfoot of men, and our churches would be shut down, our speech would be categorized as hate speech, you would have LGBT activism suddenly becoming a militant paganism that would attack Christians for their intolerance. And he predicted that all the way in the 80s, and he was kind of like marginalized by, sorry to say, the Jack Hayfords and the Saddleback model and the Bill Hybels, because we had a period of unprecedented peace and church growth. So guys like him seemed like alarmists, but he wasn't. He was a historian, and he said this is where democracies go when the church gets weak.
Don't go anywhere. You're going to miss it. The whole podcast is over on lancewallnau.com/podcast. This is just an excerpt. Go watch the full thing. Click the link in the description. It'll take you right there. You know, everybody talks about being prepared. What happens when the bubble bursts? What happens when the dollar collapses? Are you ready? Are you prepared? Do you have emergency food kits? Do you have gold and silver? I want to talk to you about something you might not have heard of yet, and it's called hydroponic gardening. And it is one of the coolest things I have secretly fallen in love with over the last 8 to 9 months. I have an entire gardening system. And let me tell you what, it's enough food not to just feed my family, but to feed my neighbors. I have 36 different types of plants growing in this thing. I have lettuce, I have beans, I have strawberries. I have so many different things. And it's just one more tool in my arsenal to making sure that I'm ready to take care of my family and my friends and my neighbors if need be. And so I want to tell you about it. It's this really cool system. It's called Let Us Grow. And if you're interested in finding out more and finding out how you can have one of these, it grows vertically. It's a hydroponic garden. You might not even know what that means. It's an entire system where it's just water-based. There isn't a ton of dirt. You don't have to worry about bugs and pests or anything like that because you can actually do this in your home, which means you can grow plants year round. It's so cool. I just did it through the entire fall and winter. And like I said, I have just had such abundance with it. So I want you to check it out. You can go to lancewallnau.com/garden and get all of the details on the Let Us Grow system. And be sure you stay tuned because I just put one together for the office and it took me less than 10 minutes to put the entire system together. And it just snaps together. You fill it up with water. You give the plants their nutrients. 30 minutes per week is all you're looking at for maintenance. So I'm telling you, go check it out. I'm going to have before and afters on the screen when I'm talking about this so you can see the type of abundance I'm talking about. Be prepared. Go to lancewallnau.com/garden to find out more.